Hey everyone, welcome back to In a Pinch with Jesus Zen. I'm Jesus Zen from snuffhouse.com. All names have been changed to protect the innocent. So a little while ago I did a review of Gawith Hogarth Kendall Brown. And if you haven't watched that yet, watch that first before you watch this, because one, I kind of did a spiel about what I feel a Kendall Brown is, what makes a Kendall Brown a Kendall Brown, and two, I'm going to be comparing them a little bit in this video. If you click the link, you already know that today we're talking about Samuel Gawith KB Original. Now I'm trying to be as impartial as possible, and I know that gosh, how many Kendall Browns does Samuel Gawith even have? Like 5 maybe. And there's a few scented, and there's a plain and an unscented. I didn't know which one to order, but I'd already had Gawith Hogarth Kendall Brown a number of times and liked it a lot, and for the Samuel Gawith I wasn't sure what to try, so I just bought Original because it says Original. So as you can see, hopefully, again the light's not too great here in the Midwest on early evening January, but if you can see, it's actually a little bit lighter than the Gawith Hogarth Kendall Brown, but still pretty dark. I mean, pretty close to potting soil. This one also has some light flecks in it, just like the Gawith Hogarth does. This has, though, a very fluffy, springy feel to it, which is what has led me to love Samuel Gawith snuffs. I promise I tried to be as objective as possible between the Gawith Hogarth and Samuel Gawith. Truth be told, the Kendall Brown is the only Gawith Hogarth I've tried that I didn't absolutely hate. I haven't tried all of them, but of the ones that I have tried, they've been horrible, and Gawith Hogarth makes my single least favorite snuff. I'm not going to say what it was, because I mean everybody's taste is different, and I don't want to turn you off to something that you might end up loving. But suffice it to say, my feelings regarding Gawith Hogarth are pretty tainted, whereas my experiences with Samuel Gawith are by and large positive. They have a handful that are way too overly scented for me, but as far as natural tobaccos go of any kind, the Crest series, the Rapays, even their SPs are pretty light. They make great stuff. So that's my little ode to Samuel Gawith. That said, as far as Kendall Brown and finding like my preferred Kendall Brown, I try to be objective. But man, that however it is Samuel Gawith pulls off that grind, and it's not with all of their snuffs, but it's with the majority of their snuffs. That like fluffy, compressy, moist without being wet, like, oh, it's just great. It makes anything better. Anyways, so the grind is actually a little bit finer than the Gawith Hogarth Kendall Brown. I'd say it's still medium coarse. I mean, like I've said in a few other videos, the grinds, what a fine, a medium, and a coarse grind are vary a lot from one manufacturer to another. For being Samuel Gawith, I would still call this a medium to maybe a medium coarse. Medium moisture. It sticks to your finger. It's a little bit more moist than the Gawith Hogarth. But maybe even just the same moisture in a different way. Whereas the Gawith Hogarth, especially when you first get it, is almost kind of wet. This just kind of has retained its original oils. The scent in the tin is so good. The scent in the, you just want to like sink your face into it. The scent in the tin is a little bit of tarmac, a whole lot of leather, fermentiness without the ammonia, which I feel like is the characteristic of the leather, and the fermentiness without the ammonia is kind of what I've gathered makes a Kendall Brown a Kendall Brown. And then on top of that, there's also a citrus, and with the I'll put some in the nose. You'll notice that these tins are significantly easier to pinch from than the Gawith Hogarth urine sample cups are. I'm gonna stop now. Salud. Alright, so off the bat, a little bit more burn than the Gawith Hogarth. But still not horrible. It just, again, it lets you know it's there. It does have the same, just doesn't feel like it should be there kind of feel to it. It just never really settles. Almost every snuff eventually settles for me, and most of them, I know a lot of you guys take a pinch and then 5 or 10 minutes later blow it out, and that's probably the safer, healthier way to take snuff. I generally don't. I leave it there. Eventually, it ends up in the back of my throat, goes down my throat, ends up in my stomach, and it doesn't really bother me. I didn't switch to snuff for health reasons. I switched to it for aesthetic reasons and ritual and variety, and just generally enjoying my tobacco better than I had been before. But for those of you who generally blow your tobacco out after letting it sit for a few minutes, not a big deal. But for me, it stays feeling like it's not supposed to be there. So 5 minutes, maybe 10, less than 10 minutes after I take a pinch, I find myself in the bathroom blowing it out. That said, it is still totally worth it. It's a snuff that's entirely about the scent to me. There is some nicotine to it. I would say probably a little bit more so for the Samuel Goff than the Gawith Hogarth. Still, both are in the medium range. They're not kickers. But they're just scents that are so complex that I have a really hard time putting words to it. The scent in the nose is leather. The leather is really heavy in this one. Like you walk into a leather shop and there it is. Tarmac is actually pretty present and does bring a little bit of smokiness to it. There's a floral that I can't identify. Maybe it's not lavender, it's not rose. My friend Dick would be so much better at identifying it because he's all about flowers. He's like a genius with flowers. I just don't know flowers well enough, but not rose, not lavender. Maybe lilac. I can see lilac, maybe. But yeah, a light floral, very light floral. Don't let that turn you off. I have not found my place in florals yet. I've tried a lot of florals trying to find one that I like, and to me they're all just soapy and too overbearing. That's not the kind of floral that I mean. It sits in well with everything else and sits in the background and just kind of actually enhances the flavors of the dark tobacco, if you can imagine that. There's also the citrus is really there, and after it sits for a few minutes, it comes out as lemon, straight lemon, black and white. No arguing that it is lemon. And again, not a heavy lemon, but like you walk through someone's living room a few hours after they've sprayed the table down with Pledge. Just a light lemon, a little bit of a floral, and then that dark, musky, leathery, manly tobacco base that I just love. Really good stuff. They're both great. This tin, again, is also in the giveaway that is still going on. You got 8 more days. You got until the end of the month. I'll be drawing the name February 1st. So if you don't know about that, if you haven't entered yet, go back and check out my 2016 snuff giveaway video for details. I've only had 5 entries so far. Total 5. 3 by email, 2 video responses. Shout out, by the way, to both IB Puff and Snuff and Snuff Anybody McFeeble. Jack, chill out. We got a puppy this month. To IB Puff and Snuff and Snuff Anybody McFeeble for their video responses, their awesome responses, and I was honored to receive them. But again, you can also enter by email if you don't want to, put your face on YouTube or put your story out on YouTube. I totally get that. You're not being judged on the stories. Your story just gets you entered. Names are being drawn blind out of a hat. So there's that. Check out the video for details. Samuel Gawith, Kendall Brown original, and Gawith Hogarth Kendall Brown original, or Kendall Brown, are both phenomenal snuffs. I would be more apt to use this. It wouldn't be an all day, but it could be a daily. Than I would the Gawith Hogarth. But I just can't get how much I don't like Gawith Hogarth in general out of my head, so that definitely plays a bit into the decision. Try both, see what you like. Share your experiences with it in the comments below, or on Snuff House, or on Nasal Snuff Takers on Facebook, or on Modern Snuff on Facebook. Lots of mediums out there now. The community is definitely growing. It's awesome, and I'm proud to be a part of it. Hope you guys are staying safe. Have a great night. Be mellow. Stay out of trouble. God bless, and salute.